Hey guys, good to be here with you again today. We've been talking about money matters. Today's quick hitter, we're talking about transitional legacy. The last money quick hitter that we had, we were talking about how if you view your life as a car, you've got a driver axle, that which moves you forward, namely that you have purpose. The steering axle would be your vision. That vision keeps you out of the ditch. It keeps you on the road. And so now as we go through this, we recognize that if you have purpose in your life that is headed towards a vision, and this vision that God has for us is generosity, then when you're in the cab, you have stewardship. And that stewardship is for the purpose of, one, keeping your purpose moving towards the vision of generosity. A lot of times in life we think that stewardship is our purpose, but stewardship actually is not. Stewardship is a part of the process that brings us to our vision, which is to be a generous people. Now, within that generosity, we have to understand that it's not just ourselves that we are responsible for, but actually we take people with us. When I was a little bit younger, I had two boys in my car with me, and my responsibility was to get them where they needed to go. Sometimes it was maybe a baseball game or soccer game or something else, but I was carrying them. The ironic thing in the Bible is that there is a transaction that happens within that vehicle where at some point in time I hand the keys over to him and he begins driving me. Proverbs talks about that it's a good man will leave an inheritance to his children's children. That means that there is this transactional, family, relational transition that happens towards a particular legacy. And so, this week we're really kind of just whetting our appetites just a little bit, just to understand what God is and has been doing and plans to do in our lives. And that is that we need to be able to transition well. So inheritance, there is a moving down, but then there's also a moving up. As a parent and a steward of that which God has given me, I am passing that inheritance down. But those values and principles, not just to my sons, but also to my grandchildren, which means that they need to be a kind of person who can handle that. Now, there's a few problems with that. Is that one, I don't fund bad behavior. They have to be the kind of kids that can handle that. And I won't be there to oversee it. And quite frankly, I don't want to hand that over. King David had this where Bathsheba came in and said, "Have you not said that Solomon would be the king, the heir?" And then Nathan the prophet came in and had to say the same thing. Well, King David, probably the greatest king, he must have planned that, but was not ready for that, and ended up didn't do it maybe when he wanted to, but when he had to. And so this handing down is a process that oftentimes is incredibly hard. But also we find in Matthew chapter 15 that God means for these children to go up and get that, to receive that inheritance. Now, the problems that we have sometimes with that is that the children do not want to go take that responsibility. I don't want to come and provide and care for my parents. It's too hard to work. It's not what I wanted to do. They treated me like this whenever I was young. There's a lot of reasons why sometimes children have a hard time being provider and caregiver for their parents. And so that oftentimes can be a very hard thing, because taking care of parents is a very hard thing. But it's what the Bible has commanded and desires for us to do. And the second thing that's hard about that in terms of their children coming up and going and getting it is because sometimes they're just irresponsible and they can't take on that responsibility. If I'm just a hot mess, how in the world am I going to go up and provide and care for my parents? And so, there's this reflection in the mirror that needs to happen. Get your business in order, so that you can also then provide help and care for your parents. And so those things are happening. So, I just really want you to hear just a few things today. The first is just that God desires for there to be transitional legacy, and he wants that to be where parents can pass themselves and their provisions to their kids. And then the second thing, that kids are a type of adults who can responsibly handle that, right? And so just keep those things in mind. God desires for there to be transitional legacy where parents pass themselves and their provisions to their kids, and their kids are the type of adults that can reach up there and take that. Sermon certainly dives into that idea and reality, and so I invite you to click on the link if it's there, or go to YouTube, and certainly you can find it there, and research this more. And then we'll also be talking about this more in the coming weeks. Have a great night.